In the world of private aviation, the aircraft you step off of says everything about your power and who protects it. A private jet glides across a Florida runway. Its engines cool, the staircase unfolds, and Donald Trump Jr. steps out. Behind him towers a gold-trimmed Boeing 757, a flying palace worth nearly $100 million. But that plane? It's only the beginning. Because over the last decade, Trump Jr. has appeared beside aircraft far larger, far more expensive, and far more politically dangerous than anything he personally owns. From a foreign government's $400 million Boeing 747, repurposed for VIP transport, to a rotation of Gulfstreams tied to donors, business partners, and private networks operating in the background. And hovering above all of it, a $4 billion Air Force One program that no private citizen should ever be inside of. Yet somehow, he is. Trump Jr. is not a billionaire. He does not run a global corporation. He does not control a foreign state. So why is he moving through an ecosystem of aircraft worth more than $5 billion? An air empire normally reserved for presidents, oligarchs, and heads of intelligence. How does a private citizen end up inside a flight network this powerful and this hidden? Tonight, we uncover the answer. A web of donors, political insiders, foreign interests, and private aviation brokers who operate far beyond public view. A system that shields, transports, and protects quietly, invisibly, and at a scale no one has ever fully mapped. What you're about to see explains far more than Trump Jr.'s travel. It reveals who really moves American power from the skies. Let's begin. The paperwork no one sees. Donald Trump Jr. is a businessman, political voice, and a global influencer. Everywhere he goes, he's surrounded by private jets, helicopters, and first-class luxury. The public sees wealth. They see power. They see a man who moves through the world on his own terms. But what they don't see is the paperwork. Because when you start pulling flight records, LLC registrations, and donor disclosures, something strange happens. The aircraft aren't in his name. Some are buried in shell companies. Others are owned by political megadonors. A few come from foreign governments. And that raises a question no one's asking. If Trump Jr. doesn't own these jets, who does? And more importantly, what does he give them in return? This is the story of a $5 billion air fleet and the invisible network that makes it fly. The Flying Mansion. Let's start with the one everyone knows, the Trump Force One. A Boeing 757-200 with registration, N757AF. This isn't just a jet. This is a flying mansion. Step inside and you'll find gold-plated seatbelts, gold fixtures on every surface, a private bedroom with a full shower, and a 12-seat conference room all built into the same aircraft. It's the kind of aircraft reserved for heads of state, except this one has a Trump logo on the tail. Market value after the custom interior, up to $100 million. It's been photographed on tarmacs from New York to Saudi Arabia. It's appeared in campaign rallies, business trips, and even family vacations. And Donald Trump Jr., he's flown on it dozens of times. So naturally, people assume it's his. But here's what the FAA records show. The 757 isn't registered to Donald Trump Jr. It's not even registered to Donald Trump Sr. It's held under DJT Operations LLC, a limited liability company buried inside a network of Trump Organization subsidiaries, designed to shield assets from public scrutiny. And just as importantly, it was structured to obscure ownership entirely. And that's just the beginning, because Trump Force One is only one piece of a much larger puzzle. A puzzle that includes donor-owned jets, foreign gifts, and a $4 billion government program that most people have never even heard of. But before we get there, we need to talk about the fast jet, the one they sold but never really let go. The jet they sold but never lost. In 1997, the Trump family acquired a Cessna Citation X, registration N725DT. This isn't your typical private jet. This is a rocket. With a top cruise speed of Mach 0.92, it's one of the fastest civilian aircraft ever built. It can fly from New York to Miami in just 2 hours. Perfect for a family that measures time in minutes, not miles. For over a decade, the Citation X shuttled between Trump properties in Mar-a-Lago, Bedminster, and Manhattan high-rises. And then in 2024, the jet is sold. But not to a stranger. It goes to Fleet Holdings, LLC, a company linked to Mehrdad Moayedi, a Texas real estate developer and major GOP donor. Market value at the time of sale, $8 to $10 million. Now here's where it gets interesting. After the sale, Trump Jr. is still photographed near Citation-class jets and still making those 2-hour trips. He doesn't own it anymore, but he still flies on it. The pattern becomes clear. The ownership is transferred, but access is retained. And the Citation X isn't even the strangest part, because before that, there were the helicopters. Sikorsky S-76 helicopters with gold interiors and Trump logos stamped across the tail. The kind of helicopters that ferry billionaires from Manhattan penthouses to private airports in under 15 minutes. For years, these helicopters were synonymous with the Trump brand. But when you check the FAA records today, the ownership trail goes cold. And yet, Trump Jr. still moves by helicopter. The fleet is a shell game. Aircrafts appear, then vanish. But the access never stops. Borrowed wings, hidden masters. Scroll through any high-profile Trump Jr. trip, business summits, international conferences, or political rallies, and you'll see a pattern. He's surrounded by Gulfstream jets that are sleek, modern, and expensive. G550S and G650S, worth anywhere from $20 million to $60 million each. He steps off them in financial hubs across Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. But here's the thing. He doesn't own a single one. These jets are provided by charter companies, business partners, and by men whose fortunes are tied to crypto, real estate, and Middle Eastern oil wealth. It's a network. And in this network, you don't buy the jet, you earn the access. If a GOP megadonor needs a favor, his Gulfstream becomes available. A foreign businessman wants a meeting with someone close to power, his jet is suddenly at Trump Jr.'s disposal. Access is the currency, and Trump Jr. has more of it than almost anyone on Earth. But even that pales in comparison to what comes next. Because above this private fleet, above the donors and the LLCs and the shell companies, there's something bigger, something worth billions. The billion-dollar air power above him. It doesn't have gold fixtures or belong to a donor, and it doesn't hide behind an LLC. Instead, it has something far more valuable. The call sign of the most powerful office on Earth. 2 modified Boeing 747s, capable of mid-air refueling and equipped with classified defense systems that can survive nuclear electromagnetic pulses. It's a flying command center that costs $200,000 per hour to operate. When the president is on board, it becomes Air Force One. But what most people don't know is that the current Air Force One fleet is being replaced with 2 brand new Boeing 747-8 aircraft, the largest, most advanced presidential jets ever built. Total program cost, over $4 billion. During his father's presidency, Trump Jr. flew on Air Force One multiple times. This is a government asset funded by taxpayer money, but still within his orbit nonetheless. $4 billion of airborne power that he can access without owning a single rivet. But even that isn't the most explosive part of this story, because in 2017, something happened that almost no one talks about. A foreign government tried to give Donald Trump a $400 million airplane. Let that sink in. Qatar acquired a Boeing 747-8, fully customized with a luxury interior worth $400 million. The plan was to offer it to President Trump as a temporary Air Force One, and later as the centerpiece of his presidential library. A gift from a foreign government to a sitting U.S. president. The ethical implications were immediate. The emoluments clause, the constitutional ban on presidents accepting gifts from foreign powers, was cited by legal scholars across the country. The deal was mired in controversy and secrecy, with the full terms only emerging years later. But the 747 was built. It exists. And to this day, questions remain about who actually controls it. The $5 billion illusion. So let's add it up. Trump. Force 1. The Boeing 757, with its gold-plated interior and private bedroom, is valued somewhere between $50 and $100 million. Then there's the historical fleet. The Citation X that could push right up against the sound barrier, and the Sikorsky helicopters with their gilded cabins are collectively worth $10 to $25 million. The Gulfstream network comes next. Each jet in this invisible fleet is worth anywhere from $20 to $60 million, and Trump Jr. moves through them like hallways in his own home. Then there's the Qatar 747-8, $400 million of luxury aircraft built by a foreign government, offered as a gift and wrapped in constitutional controversy. It exists. It's real. But the questions about who controls it have never been fully answered. And finally, the Air Force One replacement program. $4 billion of taxpayer-funded airborne command centers that Trump Jr. can board whenever his father's schedule allows. Total ecosystem, $4.5 billion to $5.5 billion. A private air empire moving one man across continents, through war zones, into palaces and boardrooms that most people will never see. But here's the truth. They don't advertise. Donald Trump Jr. owns almost none of it. The 757 sits in an LLC that obscures true ownership. The Citation X was sold to a political donor who still makes it available. The helicopters have vanished into corporate registries that lead nowhere. The Gulfstreams are borrowed, granted as favors by men whose names appear on donation records and foreign business filings. The Qatar 747 was never officially accepted, but it was never officially refused either. And Air Force One remains a government asset he can access but never control. A $4 billion symbol of power that answers to the office, not the man. The fleet exists. The $5 billion is documented, verified, and real. But it doesn't belong to him. It belongs to a network of donors who expect political favors, LLCs designed to hide liability, foreign governments seeking influence, and wealthy men who understand that in the world of ultra-power, ownership creates paper trails and access creates opportunities. And Trump Jr. has built his entire empire on that simple principle. You don't need to own the jet, you just need to control who opens the door. That's not wealth. That's something far more dangerous. Trump Jr. doesn't own the sky, but the sky bends for him. So, the next time you see him descending a jet stairway, ask yourself this: who owns that jet? And what did they get in exchange for the ride? Because in the world of billionaires and power brokers, nothing is ever free. So what do you think? Is this $5 billion air network harmless access, or does it cross the line into hidden influence? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed uncovering this secret, like and subscribe for more luxury reveals.